Major Ollie Biggs, the second in command of the Coldstream Guards, inviting the President to come and view the 1st Battalion's Guard of Honour here. For the Queen, of course, she has witnessed many opportunities to inspect her guards, but this is as great an honour a sovereign can give, to present her finest troops laid out before a visitor and to offer that visitor the chance to inspect for himself. Traditionally, the Queen left this duty to the Duke of Edinburgh, who has now retired from public affairs, and consequently this is the first time Her Majesty has accompanied a head of state visiting the United Kingdom while inspecting her Guard of Honour. Following behind Her Majesty the Queen is the officer commanding of the Guard of Honour. I saw Ollie Biggs this morning, had a chat with him about this. They've been rehearsing for this parade for some time and want to make sure that the highest standards of the Coldstream Guards, who have the motto second to none, or in Latin nullae secundis, is laid on the Queen's behalf to her guest. With a salute, he's taken leave and will shortly march past Her Majesty the Queen and the President and give a salute. Windsor has seen so much history. It is the name, after all, of the Queen's own royal family, and it reaches back to Roman times when an encampment was placed here, even in the time of Caesar. And so with the band, who will strike up with the word of command, quick march, the Guard of Honour of the 1st Battalion Coldstream Guards, on behalf of the Guards Division, the Army, the Armed Forces and the United Kingdom, will march past in salute to the Head of State of the people of the United States. Giving an eyes left to the President as they pass by. And we'll see again that vast state standard of the Coldstream Guards. And the Queen will lower her head to that, as she always does. Great music of Nolo, and then Hands Across the Sea to remind of the important links between the United Kingdom militarily and the United States through 2 world wars in the last century and in many conflicts today. With the departure of the armed forces, and Kay, they'll be passing us any minute now because they'll be coming straight back down the hill from the quadrangle, Her Majesty the Queen will then head into Windsor Castle with the President, and they will have a cup of tea. Perhaps there can be no more British a way to welcome anyone to your house. And much has been done to prepare for that tea.
It has, and I think we should reflect on what has been the moment that we have been waiting for all day, where we finally saw Donald Trump meet the Queen here at Windsor Castle. It was, everyone I think was always going to watch the body language between the two. We're used to Donald Trump with his heavy-handed handshakes, grabbing hold of his fellow head of state. He seemed much more gentle and subdued. There was a smile from the Queen, and then she gently guided Donald Trump and his wife Melania either side of him so they could stop and pause for the American national anthem. And then we saw the moment as the Queen and the President stepped off the dais and she accompanied him to inspect the Guard of Honour.
Ooh, they're going to capacitors again, Alistair. How exciting!
They certainly are, and the Queen is now presenting Ginny Airlie, the Countess of Airlie, who's one of her ladies-in-waiting, her private secretary and other members of her household, to the President. They will not be going to tea with the President and the First Lady. The Queen will have that privately herself with the President. So into the Sovereign's entrance and out of sight as Windsor has done its stuff to welcome another President to the United Kingdom.
Moment's time, Alistair, we'll once again have that ringside seat that we had as they came up the hill when we see the band of Coldstream Guards, I'm right in saying, I think?
That's right, and the Grenadier Guards.
And the Grenadier Guards.
Things to look at inside Windsor Castle.
Yes, the Coldstream Guards are about to march past our position, so maybe...
As it comes down this hill from all the great ceremonial occasions of Windsor, and it's the most perfect castle.
The Coldstream Guards, they have a very important ceremonial role, aside from the operational duties that they fulfil, that are fulfilled alongside American units. They also, of course, guard the palaces now.
Well, one of the 5 foot guard regiments which have that function, but I mean, if they were here, they would wish to stress that they are all operational soldiers. Some of these men will be off, not the bandsmen, the infantry soldiers will be off the Falklands later this year, and then next year they're going to Iraq to work.
And a 12th Russian military officer are charged with conspiring to infiltrate computers of organizations involved in administering elections, including state boards of election, secretaries of state, and companies that supply software used.
And the chief of protocol travels with the president, and I guarantee you the last thing that he or she said to him was, Mr. President, stay behind the Queen, not in front of her.
Okay. Here come the Coldstream Guards for this battalion, on their way back past the grounds, and actually past the protesters as well. On the right-hand side of the road, those who are here opposed to Mr. Trump's visit, and on the left, those who are here to show their support for the president. It's worth saying, Ron, actually these images which are being back to the United States, this is hugely important to the British economy because this is what a lot of Americans come here to see, the pomp and ceremony.
Look, when I was in front of Buckingham Palace this morning, there were so many Americans who were standing out just to see this, and to be standing here and watching these visuals. Everyone back home in America is going to say, our president was in Windsor Castle with the Queen, and of course, those illustrious guards.
Okay, Nick Witchell, Ron Christie for the moment, thank you very much indeed. We are going to move from Windsor, while that meeting is ongoing in the Brandon Apartments, to central London. to the protests. Quite extraordinary scenes in London of those protests and those protesters who've come out onto the streets. Let's join Anita McVeigh.
Well, images of pomp and ceremony as Donald Trump meets the Queen in the magnificent setting of Windsor Castle, the sorts of images that he will absolutely want people back in America to see, but happening simultaneously as he arrived at Windsor Castle with the First Lady, scenes of huge protest in central London too. The focus of the protest now at Trafalgar Square, which the Metropolitan Police said a little earlier was at capacity. They were managing the numbers of people because of the crowds there protesting against the US President's visit to the UK. These, of course, are the sorts of images that the President won't want to be beamed back to people in the United States. Let's get a sense of what's happening there right now with our correspondent Tom Burridge, who's in Trafalgar Square. Tom, I know it's really full there, and anyone who's been to London will know that is a large square.
Yeah, it's an impressive turnout, Anita, and actually we've come down the main streets of central